Yep. Good evening, everyone. So, yesterday, I hope you done that stopwatch example. So, able to design it. So, we discussed about debounce and throttle. And in this, we have hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds like that. And the stopwatch needs those hours, minutes, seconds. What's the logic you need to implement here is, so on start, you need variables. One variable is what? Milliseconds. Another one is seconds. So another one is hours, minutes, and hours. So we need all these. So these are the variables you need. So we need to declare this. And here I will not use all of them. I will use only few because their names must be different. So I will use a constant. So milliseconds, set milliseconds. So is equal to use state and it is 0. Similarly, I will put seconds and set seconds. That is also 0. Now, where we need to show these milliseconds and seconds, here we need to display. Here we will put initially empty because those you create, this is getting from which one? Seconds. This is getting from milliseconds. Okay. And here, what is the logic on start watch? So on start watch, we need to increase milliseconds, milliseconds plus plus and condition. If milliseconds is equal to how much? 99. So then milliseconds is equal to 0 and seconds plus plus. So if seconds is equal to 59, then we have minutes plus plus and second will be how much? 0. Similarly, you should add hours and others. Now, after you do this, set minutes, set milliseconds, ms na, and set seconds. That is what? Second. You have to set seconds and milliseconds. So we need to set seconds and milliseconds on from. Okay. So we need to set milliseconds and seconds. And when I click start, every second it should execute, right? That means we are assigning to thread and we are displaying the details. Run dev. Okay. And here when you click the start, it should start. And after reaching 100, 9,000, it will be 1. Automatically it will be displayed. Because my width is not fixed for columns. That is the reason it is shivering, vibrating. Actually, width must be fixed, right? So width fixed is nothing but what we need to do here. Yeah. Actually, this width little bit I adjust 75. Now it will be fine. It is going to display perfectly. So that means we have to just throttle the action. This is what I asked you to try. No? So yesterday I asked you to try this. You try stop also now. What should happen on stop? On stop, it should pause. On start, it should resume again. And you put a reset also. Reset means it will set everything to 0, 0. That you try. Right? So what is the logic for this? So we are configuring some references for milliseconds, seconds, minutes, and hours. And every second, milliseconds are incrementing. When they reach 99, it will increment seconds. After finally incrementing and storing the values, assign them to the setters so that you can display anywhere you want. You can show anywhere you want. Right? This you can try. So this is an example of that. Now stop click what to do? You have to clear interval. Currently it is using set interval and every second it is executing. You have to clear interval. You have to pause now. So on stop click, what you have to do is stop. How you stop? So you need to write a function. And what is the function handle? Stop click. On stop click, what to do? Clear interval. Clear interval. Which one? Thread dot current. It will clear the interval. And here on the button click, we need to write on click, handle stop click. And start, it is executing. And when I click on stop, then it will pause at that location. Again, I click start, it will again start. But remember, you have to write reset, zeros, everything you have to do. I just given an option for that. So this you must have tried already with whatever inputs I given yesterday. If you haven't done, now try. I hope you understood. Right. So this example I will give. And this is example of throttle demo. So let's take an example here. Yeah. I will copy this example as a throttle demo. Yesterday given, but yesterday given this for you to try. Okay, you try this. Now we will see another real world example where we can use this, where we can use the concept of throttle and events manually, how we can use them. Let's see another example. So we will go into another example here. So 1 second. Right. So another example we will discuss using some API. Let's design another example here. So the same thing, the throttle concept we will implement here now, right? So what we will do is we will create a simple component. We will give the name as carousel demo. I will add carousel demo.jsx and here export function carousel demo. We will create a simple carousel like okay. What is the design is we are having. So deflex justify content center. Okay. This is a card margin top and padding is 2. Fine. W is 50. Let's see how much it will come. Then we will have a card title, card header. I'll give a header. And we have another class that is card body. And we have another class card footer. In the card body, I will create a div row. In this, we have a div. This is class column 1. Another is column 10. Another is column 1. Here we are having an image. So this image width is 100% and height as some 300. Okay. And here we have a button BI chevron left, and it will have a button also BTN and BTN dark. Okay. I will have another button here chevron right. Okay, button. Now let's keep this in the startup. This is carousel demo. Carousel demo, not bootstrap carousel. Okay. You can see this is the initial screen we have. So at the top, we will have a title. In the middle, we will have image. These buttons we will keep in center. Huh? Left, right buttons I will keep in center. Then this column will have deflex, flex column, justify content center, align items center. Okay. Let's copy this and use it in this column also. So that horizontally, vertically, they will be center. Huh? So you have a left and right button. Huh? And now below this image, I will keep a div. Input type is range. So minimum is equal to 1, max is equal to 20, and value we will leave it empty. Later it will come dynamically. Yeah? In the card footer, we have two buttons. BTN suppose warning and BI play. So BTN danger and BI pause. Okay, this is in the footer text center. Now we have the footer with these two buttons. Huh? And this slider will have a class form range. That will have the class form range. It will be in this way. Okay. Now what is our requirement here is we need to display some photos here related to products or wallpapers or anything. We have a fake store API. In Fake Store API, already some products are there. One by one, we will display the products here. And what is the main requirement here is I want manual and auto control for this. Manual control means when I click the next and previous button, it will move to the next record and show the next record. And when I click the play button, automatically every few seconds the images must change. Automatically every few seconds it should change and get the new one, right? Let's see how to create this. Here we want both manual and auto control. We want both of them. Let's see how to do this. First, we need to get the product details from API. So I will create a constant product and a set product. At a time, you can get only one product. So we will use state. We are expecting an object. Am I right? And object contains ID. ID is a number. Title. Title is a string. So null. We have image. Image is also null. Category is null. Description is also null. Price is 0. Rating is an object with rate as number and count also as number. This is the data we are expecting from Fake Store. Already we used Fake Store, right? So in that, we already know what data is present in Fake Store. Example I showed you. This is the data coming. We will use here a function called load product manually. This load product manually is expecting an ID. When you pass ID, it will load only the product that belongs to that ID. At a time, we can access only one. So what we will do, we will use axios dot what get from where https://fakestoreapi.com/what products/id. ID is dynamically coming from the ID parameter. Am I right? Which one you pass, that parameter will come. So what we have to do then, get the response and set product is response dot what data. Okay. Now whenever the component mounts, use effect. When component mounts, what should happen? Load product manually and the first product you load. Am I right? That means whenever component mounts, it will call the function load product manually and it will load the first product. Okay. Now the first product title must display in card header. Here we want to display product dot what title, and you can see the first product title will come here. Let's align this center. Text center. First product title is coming there. The first product photo should come here. That means the image src is coming from where? Product dot what? Image. It will get the product image. The first product image is coming. Now, what we need to do here is it has lot of more details like rating, price, and all. You can show anything anywhere you want. For example, roughly what I will do is in the column here where we have image, I will keep a div. Here I will put product dot price to local string en-us. So I will use style currency and currency. I will use USD. Okay. And this I will put a class as badge, BG danger, text white, rounded and rounded circle. This is nothing but we are displaying the price like this. Padding is 3. Some gap will come. font size is 5, some size is increased for that, and position absolute, then the column should keep position relative. And absolute position means we will keep as top 0 and 0. Then it will come right side corner. That's where we want to keep it. So we have the product title, product image, another one is product price. We have the product price. Now, what is the logic is, first, when I click this button, next product should come. When I click this, previous product should come. That means I need to change the product ID. Whenever I click next, next ID, previous ID. And the same ID should work inside this slider also. Na? The same ID should work when I click play button also. That means I want a product ID to use internally, not to present anywhere. Then yesterday we learned one concept. What we have to do? What we have to do? We have to create a product ID as use ref. Am I right? And initially it will be starting with how much? 1. Default value 1. If you ask like, can I use state for this product ID? You can use. That means you can create a state reference called product ID and you can store 1. We can set product and we can handle. But why I am not using state? Why I am using reference up to now? Yesterday we discussed one point about that. What is it? We are using this value for internal use, not for presentation. If you are using any value for internal purpose to use inside the process, not for rendering as output, then better configure using what? Ref. Use ref. So here we are creating use ref. Okay. Now product ID must be changing when you click the button. So what should happen? Function handle next click. Am I right? Handle next click, and we have a function handle previous click, previous click, next click. On next click, the product ID must be increased by 1. That means how to access? Product ID dot current. Am I right? Because current refers to the current thread. Yesterday already I explained that is equal to product ID what dot current plus 1. After that, what we have to do is load product manually. Which product to load? We need a product ID. Na? Product ID is coming from the product ID dot what? Current. It should load that. The same thing should happen on previous click. And this is what? Minus 1. Now here we have a function button. This is the previous click. On click, handle previous click. And here on click, so handle next click. The product ID must be used inside this range also. This range will have a value. Value is coming from where? Product ID dot what? Current. It will get the value from product ID current. So initially you can see it is 1. When I click on next product, then the next product have to come. And the slider is also changing. When I click on next product, the next product will come. We are accessing the products one by one and we are displaying. I think some titles are huge. So what we will do, wherever we are displaying the title, here we will write a style. Height of this will be some 70-80 pixel so that it will have a fixed height. Okay, and anything overflow will be auto. That will not disturb the contents. Now, when I refresh here, you can see this is the next one. This is the next product, and this is the previous product. We can go to the previous and we can go to the next. Now, one more important is I must able to handle using this button also. That means when I move the slider, it should go to the previous and next. But this slider is currently not moving. You know the situation, huh? Why it is not moving? One way binding. You are just bringing it and binding to the UI. Whenever I make any change, it should reflect back. So you need to write one event for it. What is that? On change. So we need a function. What is that function? Handle seek bar change. Handle seek bar change. We will get E. Its value we need. Generally, those bars are called seek bars. Seek bar from where you want to watch, right? So technically, we have to get the value and assign to product ID. Product ID dot what? Current is equal to E dot target dot value. Slider value will be assigned to product ID. And after that, we have to load product manually. Na? Load product manually. Which one? Product dot what? Current. It will get that ID. This seek bar change should happen when you are moving this seek bar. So this range will have what is it? On change. Handle what? Seek bar change. Now it is fine. You see, I'm clicking the next. It will get to the next product and display. At the same time, I'm using the seek bar and move to previous, then it will go to previous. I move to the next, it will move to the next. Oh, I have used multiple times. So you can move to the previous or we can move to the next. You can use this button. You can navigate. Some problem is there. What is it? The same button click also should use the product ID. Na? Yeah, that will be a small issue. You can see here it is saying cannot read local string. That is nothing but usually what happens when I am moving the slider. When I am moving the slider, it is going to get me the next one and show. And when I click on previous, what should happen? So it will get to the previous. And when I click on to the next, then it will get to the next. Previously, what it is problem is I haven't refreshed after writing, right? We need to reload it. Now the point is when I click play button, what should happen? Automatically every few seconds this should change, na? Right? So what we have to do is let's write another function. Now this is manually you will pass an ID, but when you click play button, this ID we don't pass. Automatically every few seconds ID will be changing. So we will write one more function. This function is load product auto. What this will do is every few seconds the product will be changing. Every few seconds product will be changing. So I will use here product ID dot what? Current is equal to product ID dot current plus 1. And after that, what we will do is load product manually. Into that, we will pass product ID dot what? Current. That means what is happening? This function is going to execute every few seconds. That means every 5 seconds, every 10 seconds, this function will execute. What it will do? It will increase the product by 1 and it will call the function load product manually. It will pass this ID. Na? What load product manually will do? Get the data from API and load the data into the product. Now, when this should execute? This should execute when I click play button. So we have handle, which click, play click. On play click, what we are doing, set timeout, which function, load product auto. Every how many seconds? Some 5000 milliseconds. That means every 5 seconds it will run. That means every 5 seconds every 5 seconds it is going to execute this function, right? This function will increase the product ID and send the product ID to this location. And what it is going to do, it is going to fetch the data and display the data of that particular product. Every 5 seconds, this product ID will be increased by 1. Okay, let's do this and see here. I am using play click. That means here we are using play. On click. On click is handle play click. Okay. On pause click, I need to pause, right? So then what we will do is we will create another thread. LET thread is equal to use reference and default it is what? Null. Now what we will do is into the thread, we will pass this timeout function. Am I right? Thread dot current is equal to what? Set timeout. Because in order to cancel, it must be assigned to some memory. Na? So we have to assign to the memory. Yesterday's example, we already saw this. Now, how to cancel this? We need one more function. What is it? Handle pause click. On pause click, what we have to do? Clear timeout. Clear timeout, na? Clear timeout. And which one? Thread dot what? Current. And not only that, whether it is playing or paused, I want to show some status. Then what we do? So here we will put a constant status, set status is equal to use state. Initially status is empty. I will put the status below the title. I will put a div and here we will put the status. We will put the status here. This is font weight bold. Okay. The status is displayed there. And what is the status is when user clicks play, then set status message as slide show started. That is the status. When user clicks pause, what is the set status? Slideshow as what? Pause. Slideshow pause. And when user clicks the next and previous buttons, when slideshow, where is it? Yeah, previous and next buttons, we can set set status slideshow manual. That is the message we are keeping when they click the previous button or the next. Slideshow is manual. And on pause click, we have to write on click. On click. So on click handle, what is it? Pause click. And you can see now when I refresh here, you click here the play button. When we click the play button, you can see slideshow started. Status will come and every few seconds it will be changing. Every few seconds it is changing. So some problem. Set interval, na? I used which one? Timeout. Timeout will execute only one. Na? So we use which one? Set interval. Okay. Here we will use clear what? Interval. Fine. Okay. So now I click on play and it started and every 5 seconds it is going to change. Every 5 seconds it is going to change. It is going to change every 5 seconds. And when I click on pause, that means it should pause. That means you click on this pause, then it is paused. Status is pause. Now, is it working manually also? Let's check. You click on this, you see it is manual now. That means it is manually working, and I click on this button, it starts. That means it is working auto also. Every few seconds it is changing. Now, very important, you learned keyframes now, right? Using keyframes, usually what we do, we will bring it from right, bring it from left. We can make it opacity, transparent, fade in, fade out. Such effects we can apply for these images. That's what generally you see in websites like Amazon and all. They have carousels now, sliding banners. Every few seconds they will be changing. They are all designed by using throttle. So what is the concept of throttle? Every few seconds it is going to change, right? What is debounce and throttle difference? Debounce will delay the task by specific duration. After execution of the task, it will remove task from memory. Am I right? What throttle is going to do? It will execute the task every few seconds by releasing a duplicate of the task into the process. Right? So if you want continuous operations, then you can repeated looping operations, then you have to use throttle. Right? This is one example to show you both manual and auto how to control. Understood? So this one example I will copy. This is another example. This is throttle. I will use this one. Actually, this is carousel demo. Another example. Carousel demo.jsx. I will copy this one. This is the code for that. And remember, sometimes even you give timing intervals and all, sometimes because of API, it will take more delay because currently we are using APIs now. API means it has to get the data from their server and load into your screen. It will take time sometimes. Sometimes API websites may not be responding. That means API servers may not be responding. So your code is correct, but API is not working. So you have to check whether API is working or not. If you visit the official API website, is it working or not? You need to check. Because sometimes they shut down their servers for few hours. During the time when you are practicing these type of examples, you will get errors. And you will be very much panic about where the error is. You written everything correct, but there is error. That is because of API. You need to check that APIs also, right? So this is another example of timer events. Timer events. So timer events, what are the timer events we have seen? So timer events, we have set timeout. Another one, clear timeout. So set interval. Another one is clear interval. These are all timer events, right? So you have seen, see, we can try so many examples. Situation wise, when we design project, we will implement them. I am showing reasonably 1-2 example on every concept. Later we can implement in various places. These are all things we can implement. Okay, next important, after understanding the timer events, we are having another category, that is form events. We are having another category, form events. We will have a separate discussion on concept called forms, because forms is a separate topic in React. We have to learn separate. Here I am just explaining only event. Later we will use the concept of React forms. React forms is a separate topic. You will learn how to deal with forms validations separately. Here we are just discussing about the events. What are the form events of JavaScript? Same here also. We have event like what? On submit is one event, another one on reset is event. These are form events. Form events are configured for form element. So form events are configured for form element. They can trigger only with generic buttons like submit and reset. They can trigger only with generic buttons like submit and reset. You can define actions to perform. You can define actions to perform on submit and on reset. Syntactically, we write for form on submit is equal to some handle submit. And you need buttons type submit. And you need button type reset. So I'm not giving any example because later you will learn. For that, we need to learn concept of forms. So these are form events. So we will leave it here only because it's a very big concept. So much is there to discuss about forms. We are going to learn in a separate concept. React forms, validations, how to submit to server and all. But in the events category where these events are written, how they are written, I am showing that. And this already I showed you. You remembered I told you prevent default. What is prevent default? We learned two options, propagation. No, stop propagation. Another one is prevent default. What is stop propagation? Stop propagation is nothing but if the parent event is triggered through child, we can stop it. What is prevent default? I showed with example also I showed several years back. Yeah, just only 1 2 week back only. No? Because you are thinking as if in your childhood you learnt it. Yeah? Where to use that prevent default? I told you that prevent default is used for generic elements. Generic elements means like what forms? Forms by default have which functionality like submit, reset, validate. How you can disable them? We can disable by using what? Prevent default. I given detailed example also about it. Later while working with forms, we will see it. Okay. As of now, I hope you are clear with all these events. Now we finished understanding different types of events. Examples we will see related to forms later. Related to forms we will see example later. I just given the event, and because to use this we need some APIs, post, put, delete actions, everything we will design. We'll create one project like and we will see. Now you are aware of all the events in React. So finally all the events of React events summary also you know. What is that events summary? I will just give a event summary. You learned about mouse events, keyboard events, so button events. So you learned about clipboard events. Clipboard means cut, copy, paste. And you learned about element state events. Element state events. And you learned about timer events and form events. These are the major categories. In these all different types of events we have learned. Remember, generally hundreds of events are there. All are not required for every situation. What are the events majorly used in our projects? Those all events we have learned. For example, you are building a mobile app. If you are building a mobile app, do you know JavaScript have touch events? JavaScript have touch events. You will never learn that in JavaScript. Why? Because for that you need a touch device. You can practice them. If you have a touch device, you can practice touch events. You can practice touch events. Touch start, touch and touch move like events will be there. That means there will be so many events, but they will not fit in every development. Mostly for web development, these are all the different events required. These are all the events required. I hope you are clear, right? Now, after understanding these events, to design one complete real-time example with these events, one more topic we need to learn. And that concept is you need to understand about conditional rendering. Another very important concept, conditional rendering in React. Conditional rendering in React. So to design proper examples and implement all these events, you need to know this conditional rendering. Conditional rendering, so many phases are there. For example, I will tell you one situation. For example, when you open Gmail, if you are using a Gmail without login, then the screen is different. And you are in a logout state, then screen is different. For example, you are using some website, Netflix and all, and you paid only 200 rupees per month, then you will get different screen. You pay 900 rupees, 600 rupees per month, you will get some more features. Am I right? That means situation wise conditions, based on condition, what user can see can be changed. That means conditional rendering is the process of rendering according to situation. We will not show same information every time. We will change. So user selects that I want 4K quality. Then we will change the video quality to 4K. That means depending on the requirement, the user interface must change itself according to the situation. That is called conditional rendering. There are so many phases in conditional rendering. I will show you. So many are there. One by one we will see. First point, what is meant by conditional rendering? React application can change its user interface according to state and situation. Every time it will not show the same information. It can change according to the state and situation. How UI can change according to the situation and why we need to change, you will see that. Let's see different examples for that. So first point, what is conditional rendering? So it is the process of rendering various content according to the state and the situation. It is the process of rendering various content according to state and situation. React component can handle conditional rendering using following techniques. React component can handle conditional rendering using following techniques. Different techniques are there. Number one, first point is rendering a component, rendering a component into the UI, rendering a component into the UI. That means situation rendering a component into UI according to the state, according to the state and situation. Rendering a component into the UI according to state and situation. According to state and situation. This is first one technique. That means you can render a complete component into the UI according to the state and situation. For example, I will show you how this can happen. See, let's put here a component called, I will add a component conditional render. So conditional render dot JSX. Okay. Here, so I am designing in the components. Do we have any login register? Is there? Yeah, we have a login form and we have a register form, not there. I will use register here, register.jsx. Export function register. Just roughly I'm adding. So here we have a register user. So we have a data list, data term, name, text box. Already I think we have a login screen. Just roughly I will give register. You can design it later, and login also have some login screen is there. Fine. Now see what is the requirement here is this is name, some email, some mobile, like this I'm adding. Okay. Now what is conditional rendering concept here is export function conditional rendering. And here we will design a container and just I will keep a heading as so home. Okay. And here I am adding a button called login and I have a button called register. BTN primary and MX2 and this is BTN success. Okay. Now I will keep this in the startup. What is it? Conditional render. And you can see this is the option we are having. Now what we will do is in this conditional render, container fluid. Yeah. and padding 4 or 5, something. Okay, now it is fine. Now what should happen is when I click login, that login screen should come here. And when I click register, register should come here. They are different components and I want to render them here. So that means according to the situation, I need to bring different component and render in my component. So then what we can do here, let's see. I am using a condition constant component and a set component is equal to use state component is initially what null. Now what we are doing is here we will put a horizontal line and here we will render that component. That means component is currently empty. There is nothing there in the component. You can see the component is empty, nothing is there. Now what should happen here is function handle login click. On login click, what we have to do is set component. We will bring the login component and load it into this. That means we can bring that complete component and we can load into that area. And when user clicks function handle register click, on register click, what should happen? Set component and it should get which one? Register component. It should get register component and load. That means here on click, what we are doing is on click handle login click and on click handle register click. And when I click on login, login will come here. When I click on register, register will come here according to their design. They already have some design. The design is coming here. That means we can toggle the components and we can get them here. That means situation wise, the component is changing its interface. We are bringing a different component and displaying. This is one concept of conditional render. In conditional rendering, you can bring a complete component and render according to the situation. You can change the component according to the situation. That means we are changing the component on the button clicks. Am I right? We are bringing a separate component and rendering here. Situation wise, it is changing it. It is changing the component. So this is one part of conditional render. Conditional rendering means one technique is bring a complete component and render. So in this, what we do is here, you have to configure a reference to handle component. You have to configure a reference to handle component. Constant component set component. Use state and it is null. You have to configure a reference. You have to configure a reference to handle component. You can render any component according to the state and situation. So function handle a click, just roughly on handle a click, what we do, we set component and we will render a component is rendered. Am I right? We have function handle b click, then the b component is rendered. We can change. We can set a component according to the situation. This is one example. So how we can render different component, right? I will give example here. Conditional render dot what JSS. So yeah, in this example, let's add this code. So we are having two, right? So one is login, another one register. You design those separate components and you can import and you can use them. This is one situation. Let's see the second situation. What is another concept in conditional rendering? Another situation in conditional rendering. Rendering a part of UI, rendering a part of UI inside component according to state and situation. Rendering a part of UI inside component according to state and situation. That means inside the component, some area will change according to situation. Rest of component will be same. Some area will be changing according to situation. For example, let's see in the same thing, let clean up this. Suppose I am designing some header. So in that we have a span class bi Amazon I given, and this is in one div. Okay. Next we have another div. In this we have input type as text. Okay. Placeholder is username. Fine. We have a button class btn some so bi person. Okay. Actually, this is simply sign in. I will give. So btn danger. Okay. You can see this is the header we are having. Deflex, justify content between, align items center, align items center. Okay. Padding is 2. And okay, this is the option we are having. I'll just use this area class contain form control, and these two we have to keep it as another div input group. Okay, so that's what we are having. Now in the header we have a border 2, border secondary. Okay, that is fine. Okay, this is the border we are having. So what is our requirement is nothing but simply in this screen. This is 2, this is 4, this is 4. Okay. Our requirement is nothing but right side, this panel will be changing. When user already signed in, then it will show a profile photo and it will put an option called sign out now, right? So that area should change. That means entire component will not change. Only some portion of that component will be changing. That means if user logged in already, if user is already logged in, then here his photo will come and we will have an option called sign out. If not, then it will show sign in. It will display sign in. State management and everything later you will learn. You can use them. JavaScript will have those topics actually. Here, conditional rendering, how it works. Let's see one simple concept here. Now, what we will do is I will show you the situation here. In the same place, I need another container, another div, and this will have a span. What is it? And class bi person. Okay, then we will put a button. So class btn link, and we will keep an option sign out. Roughly, you can put anything here. Now you can see there is this option also. You can put anything there. So I will just keep this badge bg, some warning, rounded circle. I will add something like this. I think I need to add that in a separate span because it is disturbing this one. In that span, yeah. Class, I will use badge, bg, danger. So text white, so rounded and rounded circle. Fine, it will be like this. Just for your understanding sake, I am adding that. There can be any image or anything else later. Now, what is our concept is this should be hidden. This area should be hidden. Which area should be hidden? Sign out area should be hidden. It should display after sign in, right? That means when user sign out, then sign in area should come. When user sign in, this area should display. We have to change that according to the situation. Generally, how we maintain sign in details, I will show you. Generally, how we maintain sign in details roughly. Later, we will learn about state management and all those things. Initially, just option I will put here constant. So we will put here a simple reference called so is signed in. Am I right? Set is signed in. Signed in is equal to what? Use state is signed in is actually false. We have a boolean is signed in is false. Okay, what we will do is here this area should change according to situation. That complete right side area should change according to the situation. So here what we will do, here we will write a dynamic expression. In the dynamic expression, what is the condition? Condition is we have ternary operator. Na? You know that you can't write if condition here. You have a ternary operator. What is it? Is signed in. Is signed in is equal to what it is? True. Then question mark. What should happen? If signed in is true, then what should happen? This sign out button should display. Na? This container we will keep after this question mark. Understood? This we will put after the question mark. After that we have a colon. Na? So let's keep it clean. Okay, this colon should render this information. Am I right? That means we will render that area. This is conditional rendering. That means now you see here If is signed in true, then automatically it will display. Now what should happen is when user clicks the sign in button, sign in is true na? Okay, let's write the logic for that. We have a function. What is it? Handle sign in. Okay. When what should happen? Set signed in as what? True. Set signed in as true. That means what we will do here. So we will write the button, click here. Where is the sign in button? Huh? So this is the sign in button. On click. On click. What is it? Handle sign in. And you see now I entered some name. I entered some name and click on sign in. Then it will show sign out. Understood? Now when I click sign out, signed in false na, right? So we need to write another function. What is it? Here we have to write a function. What is it? Handle sign out. On sign out, set is signed in as what? False. Then this should work on the sign out button click. Huh? On click, handle sign out. That means when I click sign out, then it will display this one. That means in one place, the area content is changing. Later, you will learn at large scale. This is just basic example. Large scale means we will create a registration form, login form, user will log in, his profile photo will come there. He will have a drop down. He will select sign out. Am I right? We will design all that. This is just to understand conditional render. That means you entered something and click on sign in, then it will get that. If you want to show who signed in, of course, you can collect the value from the text box and show. Those are all later things we will see. Initially, when I click sign out, it is going to sign out and display this. This is also conditional rendering. Conditional rendering. Previously, conditional rendering is nothing but bringing a new component and showing. Here, conditional rendering is not bringing a new component, just changing certain block inside the component. Am I right? We are rendering different blocks according to the situation. This is also under the concept of conditional render. Conditional render. So what is this conditional render? It is nothing but you can render various blocks inside component. You can render various blocks inside components. It requires a simple decision making function inside UI. It requires a simple decision making function inside UI. So here we have syntactically, just like in the binding expression, is active is equal to true. Then question mark, here we put A, colon, we will put B. Just roughly I'm giving. That means we are rendering different blocks. If is active true, then it renders A block. Else B block. So this is conditional render, another technique of conditional render. So another technique of conditional render example, I will give the same conditional render dot what JSX. This is conditional render JSX. This is to show the concept of sign in, sign out, how we handle. Some more techniques we will see tomorrow. There are some more techniques of conditional rendering that we'll see in next session. First you try this, tomorrow we'll continue. Okay, right.